Welcome to the Tristin Edu Network Studios. We bring you practical technology tips which you can use as a 21st century teacher.
All right, so this morning I'll be looking at mastering online teaching techniques. And what we have had before, which we are very familiar with, is the face-to-face teaching. We are very familiar with teaching in a face-to-face way, which is very familiar to every one of us. And like you can see, we are familiar with teachers in the classroom, students lifting up their hands, writing of notes on the board. I know that some of our schools would have moved beyond making use of blackboards, even though I know that in some rural areas, you may still have blackboards like the one you can see in the picture. For some of us, we already use whiteboards. And in some schools, there are already smart boards in your classroom. So what we are familiar with is teachers going into the class, face-to-face teaching, and things are going on like that. But one of the biggest issues, which we'll be talking about later, is, as you can see, is that they all have to be in the same place. Sometimes the class is quiet, they are writing notes, we are talking, they are raising their hands, and things like that. So what have been the gains of teaching face-to-face in a face-to-face environment? Now, the first thing is the human interaction, which you can find. In a face-to-face environment, there's the human interaction. And when you are teaching in a classroom, the teacher can interact with the students can talk with one another, they can touch one another, they can move with one another, and all of such interaction that is possible. Of course, a second one is the fact that in many cases, students can receive instant answers. So you are going in a class and you discuss a topic and the student does not understand. In a face-to-face environment, the student can always ask a question and then they can respond to it. Now, the third advantage of the face-to-face teaching is the fact that there's complete focus in a way. Distraction is less. When the teacher is in the class, the teacher is teaching, the students are completely focused. I want to believe that even though we are all in an online class, some of you may be doing different things. I know that some of you may be sitting down in front of your table, some may be lying down in the bed, some may be in the kitchen trying to cook, some may be, I hope nobody's driving. Please don't drive while listening to this webinar. But I want to believe that you'll be doing different things and you may not have 100% focus on the class. So one of the biggest advantages of the face-to-face teaching is the complete focus which you have. Now, but COVID-19 has changed the game. Not even just that it's changing the game, it actually has changed the game. It's this virus that came upon us a few months ago and changed everything. At first, we thought we could help the classroom by practicing social distancing in the class. We thought that if we ask students to sit apart and ask their teachers to stand apart, we will still go ahead with our teaching in the classroom. But we discovered that things have changed. Now, the reality is that COVID-19 didn't really cause the deficiencies in the education sector. Sometimes we think that it's the virus, it's the pandemic that changed everything and caused all the problems we have. No, the only thing is that it has revealed and made obvious what our state has always been. The truth of the matter is that the pandemic has only made obvious the things that we have always had problems with in the education sector. Now, so we are going to do our first activity, live activity. How has COVID-19 affected the education sector in Nigeria. So you pick up your phones, you talk to me. Pick up your phones, go to your browser. If you are on your browser, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, whichever browser you have, either on your system or on your smartphone. Go to polev.com. Go to polev.com/DA438 on your browser, and you should be able to respond to this question. You will just type in your answers, and you will see your answers show up on my screen. polev.com/DA438. What do you think? How do you think COVID-19 has affected the educational sector in Nigeria? I will be waiting for your response. All right, I'm sharing the link in the chat button. So just go to that link that I have sent, pollev, polev.com/DA438. Yes, I'm waiting. Oh, good. Thank you. I'm seeing my responses are coming in now. Schools have been shut. Yes. Yes, thank you. Anybody else? I'll just wait a few minutes before I go ahead with my presentation. How do you think COVID-19 has affected the educational sector? Yes, again, schools have been shut down. Yes, thank you. I will still wait a few minutes for a few more. Okay, somebody says it has enabled us to realize the importance of online learning. Yes, learning has been affected. Yes, our learning, the learning of students have been affected, and definitely it has enabled us to see the importance of learning online. And technology has come to stay. Oh, sure. Somebody says it has hindered learning, it has revealed the lapses in the educational sector. The government have not invested much into the educational sector. I agree with you. Teaching has been affected. I agree with you. The teaching and learning process has been slowed down. Very correct. Academic activities have been affected. Yes. The importance of tech is now a front burner. Yes. School has been closed and learning is affected. Yes. There's one thing that I'm not seeing anybody talk about. It exposes us to another platform of teaching and learning. Correct. Correct. All right. I think I will just go ahead. Some people are talking on the chat. They said that calendar has changed. There has been no limitation. There has been limitation to learning. Those who have been highly affected are the children of the less privileged. Okay, online learning is gaining speed. It has caused us to see the deficiency in the educational sector as far as technology is concerned. Now, you are all very correct, and I think I will just go ahead. Now, so what are the present challenges? So please come back with me so I can go ahead briefly because of my time. We have all spoken about the challenges that we are facing presently, and the first one that is obvious, which many of you spoke about, is the fact that our schools have been shut. Our schools have been shut. All schools have been shut. Unfortunately, Nigeria was not prepared for the shutting down of our schools. I remember 2 months or so ago, just before the lockdown began, I was reading the news, and as we saw the spread at which COVID-19 was going, schools outside the country, total districts organized by the government, shutting their teachers for 2 days, 3 days, teaching them and training them on how to teach online. I know that at that point, the government there recognized that a time is coming as we are going that the schools will be shut. So what they did was to gather their teachers together in schools, local governments by local government, districts and states, and trained their teachers because they envisage a time that schools was going to be completely shut. So that's the first challenge that has come up. And then, like somebody also said, learning has also stopped. Because schools are shut, most learning has stopped. And the reason is because for the bulk of the time before now, we have tied our learning to the four walls of the classroom. We have tied every kind of learning, and we said learning should not take place unless you come to a physical building. And we did not believe in any other way to learn. So learning has also stopped. Finally, is the fact that, of course, teachers are not being paid. And I've interacted with many teachers in this period. In the past 2 months, I've interacted with heads of schools and school owners, proprietors and proprietresses, and there's a lot of dilemma going on. Parents are saying, I cannot pay school fees because my child is not in school. My child is sitting there at home. I'm spending money, buying food, and doing everything I can do at home. My child is not in school. My child is not learning, so I cannot pay school fees. So the school owner or the proprietor is saying, oh, sorry, because my parents are not paying their school fees, so sorry teachers, I cannot pay you. And most especially in the private sectors, we are seeing teachers either have never been paid or their salary has been halved, has been broken down into maybe half of certain percentage. Things are happening. So these are the present challenges that we are facing amongst our teachers in this day. Now, so let's go to online teaching and learning, which actually now changes the game for us. Online teaching and learning now introduces something different for us. Now, a lot of people are following this. What will be online teaching and learning? Let me attempt to define or show us the parameters of online teaching and learning. Or let me just ask, put in the chat for me, what do you think online teaching and learning will be like? Let me just have 3, 4, 5 people in the chat, please. In the chat, what do you think online teaching and learning is? Maybe just a few responses before I go ahead to explain that. Yes, anybody? Learning from a distance? Yes, thank you. Learning and teaching over the internet. Using IT systems for learning. The use of technology to teach. Very good definitions. Yes, can I have a few more before I go ahead? Using e-learning tools for teaching, virtual learning system, imparting knowledge through technology, teaching and learning facilitated by technology, visual learning, ICT in education, learning with computers. All right, thank you very much. So let me just go ahead and explain or try to give you parameters for teaching online. The first thing here is the fact that we are teaching using digital technology. Now, when we talk about, you can't talk about online teaching and learning without talking about technology. So the first thing that is basic when you are talking about teaching online is that you are going to be teaching your students using digital technology. Now, the second thing is that you are going to be teaching using audio and visual elements. All right, so when you are teaching online, it opens up an entire space, and I'll be talking more about that as I go ahead. But when you are teaching online, it opens up an entirely new system of teaching for you. You can teach in different ways. So you can make use of videos and make use of pictures and make use of an external link. I will talk more about that as I go ahead. But just know that when you are dealing with online teaching and learning, you teach with digital technology, you teach with audiovisual elements, and then finally you teach using the learning management system. And what is the learning management system? A learning management system, or what we call the LMS, is the tool, a digital technology tool, where we try to simulate a classroom environment online. So in an LMS, students are able to sign in, teachers are able to sign in, they are given different roles. You can put in your lectures. In some of them, you have opportunity for video. In some of them, you have opportunity for live lecture. In some, you can give assignments. and ask your students to follow you and submit the assignment. And then there's a grading system, there's a place for timetable. An LMS is a system that manages teaching and learning. Now, this is different from the school management system, which we refer to as the SMS. The school management system helps you to manage the school, helps you to manage school. The school management system helps you to manage the processes in the school, the finance, the bus arrangement, the transport arrangement, if you have midday meal or feeding arrangement, the teacher biodata, and all of such things like that. So the school management system enhances the processes in the school, while the learning management system enhances the teaching and learning process of the school. I hope you got that difference. So when you are teaching online, you need a learning management system and not just a school management system. Now, what are the advantages of teaching and learning online? Advantages of teaching and learning online. Several advantages. Several. Number one, the first thing is that barriers are broken. There are no physical barriers. All the barriers are broken. Look at all of us now, and let me quickly just take this activity. So everybody show me in the chat in one word where you are from. Just show me where you are from. Ibadan, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Ekiti. Just type in one word for me where you are from. Ondo, yes, thank you. Lagos, Ibadan, Akure, Ogun State, Delta, Abuja, Akure, Ondo, Lagos, Edo, Kano, wow, Mowe, Ogun State, Oshun, Akure, Abeokuta, Sokoto, wow, Ijebu, they coming in so much. Katsina, Ogbomoso, Minna, Edo, Shomolu, everybody from everywhere. Ibafo, Lagos. Now, so even someone from Jigawa State. Now you discover that you online teaching like this has broken the barrier. How would we all have been able to gather together? Even someone from Umuaron, from Rivers. Now, how would we have gathered together if not for online teaching and learning? So the first advantage of teaching and learning online is the fact that the barriers have been broken. Now, the second advantage, if I just continue, is the fact that we now have access to wider online content. There's access to a wider online content, and this is interesting for me. The reason is because when you are teaching online, you can always pull in resources from here and there. And as you can see, I could interact with you. I can also engage with you while my teaching is going on. So when you are teaching online, you have access to wider online content. You can pull from that site. You can add an extra video from YouTube. You can pick a picture from there. You can look for a podcast that is relevant to your class and go ahead with it. Access. Number three, development of 21st century skills. And this is important. Now, we are teaching our students because part of the things that we must engage our students with is 21st century skills. Teaching online introduces those different skills: presentation skills, listening skills, and like I was discussing with a friend recently, and I was saying this COVID-19 period has given many of us access to download certain apps which we have never used before. For some of us, this period is the first time you are downloading Zoom. Maybe you have downloaded Google Meet. Maybe in your school you've downloaded Google Classroom. Maybe you've downloaded a screen recorder. Maybe you have downloaded an animation app. We are learning skills. I was listening to Mommy Yinka Ogunde on Facebook yesterday, and she was asking what people have learned. And it's amazing seeing the amount of learning that has taken place online. The amount of learning that teachers have learned. Teachers say they have taken 7 courses, 12 courses. The online teaching and learning has opened the door for the development of 21st century skills. Number 4, it increases student engagement. And you cannot beat the engagement that can come on online to what you have in a face-to-face environment. The engagement is much. As you can see here, there's so much engagement. Not only are you seeing my slides presenting the course, at the same time, you can interact with me, which increases your learning and your understanding. Number 5, it aids immediate and personalized feedback. Now, even though in a class-to-class setting, students have the opportunity of asking the teachers question immediately. But I usually have, when we talk about feedback and assessments, for example, the students do not get immediate feedback and they do not get personalized feedback. So I read a training sometime, I think last year, when I was dealing with assessment and technology, and I was talking about the feedback loop of assessment. Many times what we do is correction on the board. So we do a classwork or we give them assignment and we come back the following day to do assignments. Now, online with in the classroom with assignment, all we simply do is just write, this is the correct answer. Everybody pick the one you missed and copy the right answer. Now, the student does not know why he or she has missed the one he has missed. Now, but in an online environment, you can personalize the feedback and the students can get it almost immediately. There are different tools that helps you to achieve such kind of immediate and personalized feedback. Next one is I prepare students for the future. Of course, some people have said, many great scholars have said that it's our responsibility as teachers to prepare our students for the future and for jobs that do not yet exist in the future. Now, these are the days where you ask somebody, what are you doing now? They tell you social media analyst. What are you doing now? They tell you social media branding analyst. These are the days where you are having different kinds of responses and you are actually wondering, where are these jobs coming from? I remember having to speak with my grandfather and he was trying to ask me, oh, so Daniel, what are you doing? And I told him I am an educational technologist. He said, you are a teacher. I said, well, yes, close to that, but I work with teachers and I do this. He said, okay, where's your office? And well, honestly speaking, even though I have a physical office that I go to once in a while, but I can work anywhere. Just like I'm at home now and I'm doing this. So the future is changing and we need to prepare our students for that changing future. Online teaching and learning helps that. It also increases teacher employability. I know that this period is very difficult for several of us as teachers, but then when you have this kind of skills and you are able to teach and learn, teach online, one of the advantages is that you are employable. You increase your employability, and then as a school, you can attract new and keep old students. Of course, the private schools that have been able to run in this period will definitely attract new students, and they will be able to keep the students that they have. Now, let me run quickly because my time is no longer on my side. What are the components of teaching online? And I'm going to discuss, I think, 5 components. Number 1, content. You cannot talk about teaching online without talking about the kind of content that is suitable for an online teaching. Number 2, pedagogy. So I will be looking at pedagogy together, and I'll be looking at pedagogy together. I'll be looking at, the platform, the right platform that you can use when you want to teach online. So I'll be looking at assessment. How do you perform assessments online? And then finally, what are a few principles? There are several principles, but I'll just be touching a few principles when you are teaching online. So let me go ahead to the first one, content. Now, what kind of content can you have when you are teaching online? What kind of content? Number 1, text. As old-fashioned you may say as text may be, even though you may not write with pen, as you can see in the slide, but we still need to give our students some text. We still need to communicate to students using text online. So whether you are using a learning management system or you are using a social media platform, you will still need to communicate text to them. So please, when you are teaching online, give them text. Explain to them. Don't forget that they are going to need support. I will talk about that later, but you need to explain. You need to be explicit. You need to write your text. Don't use shorthand. Don't use abbreviations. Write your text in full. SMS, for example, would mean many things. SMS can be the text message. SMS can be school management system. SMS can mean something else in some other way. So don't use abbreviations as much as possible. Be as plain as possible. Number 2, images. Now, some people have said that there is a popular quote that says that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, I don't have so much time. I would have asked you to explain to me what you can see in the picture. Okay, so let me do it. I think I was told I have time. So talk to me, everybody. What do you have in the picture? What can you see in the picture? A puppy, a dog? Yes, thank you. More descriptions. Describe to me what you can see in the picture. Puppy, dog. Yes. Green grass, thank you. A puppy relaxing, thank you. Dog on the grass, a dog lying on the field. All right, a small dog resting and looking at something. Yes, definitely this dog is looking at something. An animal on the grass, a background, okay, a dog laying on a field. Now, this itself can become a lecture starter or a course starter. When you have a picture, it explains to you the different things that is available on in a class. So I could begin my class, for example, by just putting a picture up and asking my students to explain what that picture is all about. When we are teaching online, images are very, very good. Don't forget we talked about using audio visual, so images are good. Number 3 is that you can make use of audio. Now, when you are teaching online with your content, you have opportunity to use audio. And let me tell you that there's great power in making use of audio, especially in this period where there's social distancing. Many of us, including our students, have been at home for quite a while. And when they are teaching, when you are teaching, for example, and they can hear your voice, it introduces some form of social, even though online. I know it's not the same as if they can touch you and hug you. And don't forget, even if we go back to school now, we are going to be restrained on our hugging. Some of our students love the hug. They love to be touched. They love to be shaking. Even some of us as teachers, we hug our students. Resuming back now, some of those things will no longer be possible because of social distancing. Now, online, making use of audio can bring back the social aspect, which would naturally have been lost if you were in a face-to-face environment. So the teacher can record audio. You can record podcasts, and there are several audio recording tools, podcast tools that are available online, and many of them for free. I'll be talking about that later, which you can use to transfer or pass across what you have inside of you to your students. Number 4 is that you can make use of games. Now, I'm sure some of us have heard of game-based learning and gamification and all of those terminologies which education technologies usually speak about. The summary of it is that when you are teaching online, you can make use of games. We are going to do a final activity at the end that will be a mixture of assessment and playing of games. It will be quite interesting for every one of us using Kahoot. I'm sure some of us have heard of Kahoot before, but you can teach using games. You can present your content in game format. And while I taught briefly in a primary school, this is one thing that I did. I kept my students looking forward to my class because they will play a game. Sometimes it's no more than 5 minutes. Sometimes I don't get to play the game, but the mere fact that they know that there is a 80% possibility that they'll play a game brings them to my class, keeps them active. They are following my class because my game is going to be based on the content that I have put up. So when you are teaching online, you can also teach using games. And then finally, definitely you can teach through using video. And Let me see if I can attempt to play this video. This is a video I created.
You're welcome to another session with Uncle Daniel. Okay, and this time around we are going to be looking at
I
living
hope
things.
you
What
can
did I
hear
call
the
it?
sound.
Living things.
Someone
Right?
please talk to me.
What
Can you hear the
do you
sound
know
coming from the
about
video?
living things? So we are just going to be
Oh,
looking
thank
at
you.
the
Thank you. You can
following
hear it.
pictures,
Thank
and
you.
tell me what you can see. Cats. Look at it very well. All right, a cat is growing. What about this? Look at that man. What do you think is happening to him? Okay, the man is breathing. Now you can see the girl is running, the cat is growing, and this man is breathing. Now you will discover that with seeing these three pictures and seeing these three people, you will discover that you are dealing with living things. That is what is common to all of these things. So what are living things? Living things is anything that has life, that can move and can grow. Do you understand that?
All right, so let me just go ahead. So I'm just saying that you can teach online making use of videos. Sometimes what you want to present, if they see it in a video format, they will learn it faster. So I was just giving an example of how a teacher can teach the topic living things, either basic science or integrated science or even biology. And in this video, you can have interaction, you can even have a video inside the video and many other things that can make it interesting for your students. And then now finally,
a living thing is anything that has life.
Is that you can also make use of links. When you are teaching online, you can make use of links. You can send your students to external links. From there, they can now view what is in the link and then add it to their knowledge. So with online teaching, your students are no longer restricted to your textbook. As good as our textbooks are, they were written by men and they are limited and things are changing. And particularly in this day that we are, things are changing very fast. So online teaching gives you access to links. You can easily send your students for further reading. Go to this link and go and read more. This is the note I have given you in class, but you can get more here. You can do more here. All of that is available using online teaching. Now, let me go away from number one quickly and go to number two. Now, in number two, I will talk about pedagogy. What will be pedagogy? I know that some of us, particularly those of us who are education people who went through education school, either NC or B.Ed or M.Ed, at whatever level that we are, even PhD level, we understand and recognize the word pedagogy. Pedagogy has to do with method of teaching. It has to do with how do you teach. It has to do with the principles that undergird your teaching. So pedagogy means when you are teaching, you don't just teach anyhow. There is a way, there is a principle, there's something that guides the way you teach online. So pedagogy has to do with the method of teaching online. And I'll be introducing to you a particular pedagogy, which is called the activated classroom teaching pedagogy. It was discovered by my mentor, Dr. Craig Blewett, in 2016, and I've worked very closely with him in the discovery and the use of this pedagogy. This is a series of layers of pedagogy that can be used when you are teaching online. Now, pedagogy used in face-to-face teaching is slightly different from when you are teaching online. So I will run through it. I won't be able to explain in detail. And when I do full training on this pedagogy, sometimes I can be doing that training for 2 full days. But I will just run through it briefly as I go ahead talking about the pedagogy of teaching online. And this model really helps. Number one is consumption. So at the lower level is that when you are teaching online, your students will consume. And what do I mean by consumption? Your students have opportunity to take in. So when your students are reading an ebook, for example, they are consuming content when they are reading. When they are watching a YouTube video, they are consuming content. So for example, in this webinar that we've been having, except that I have spiced it up because I am also using this activated classroom teaching as part of my own model. Ordinarily, for most of the trainings you attend, you sit down with arms crossed, and sometimes the participants may be sleeping off because it's all consumption. The facilitator or the teacher or the lecturer, for those of us in tertiary institution, are just talking. They are talking and talking and talking and talking, and you are consuming. Now, so this is the lowest layer. Yes, when we are teaching online, we must give our people an opportunity to consume content, but we must move from consumption to what I call curation. Now, what is curation? Curation is the ability to pull resources from different places into a pool that can be used. Into a pool, P-O-O-L. So it is the ability, the skill that is required to gather resources, and that's a skill that is needed. Now, imagine in the workplace, you have been put in a committee to plan inter-house sports. Now, how do you, whether you have done inter-house sport before or not, what is the first thing you do is to gather resources. So you go online and Google, how do you plan an online, how do you plan inter-house sport? You go online and find out how do you give trophies. You go online and find out how do you mark the field. I remember several years ago when I was doing my NYSC in the school that I served, they had never done an inter-house sport before. And the proprietor just called me and said, "Copper, come, we want to do inter-house sport. Can you plan it?" I'm like, oh, wow. Yes, I've been through inter-house sport before. I did inter-house sport in my primary school, my secondary school, but I've never been involved with planning. So I had to now do lots of curation. So I went online and tried to find out what is inter-house sport? How do you mark a field for inter-house sport? They had a field, it was never marked. What is the spacing between one lane and the other? I had to go online and gather all of those resources. What do you do when you are giving them presentations? How do you divide them into groups, into houses? What are tools that can help me to evenly distribute my students into different houses? I gathered and curated all of those resources. Now, when you are teaching online, these are some of the skills that your students are going to need. So you are going to need not only to give them opportunity to consume content, but to curate content as well. And we go ahead and talk about conversation. Now, you will discover that as you move on, it engages you a little bit more. Now, the next thing is conversation. Online teaching gives opportunity for students to have a discussion between themselves. So if I were in an online class with a learning management system, I could distribute my students into groups, put them in group A, group B, group C, and ask them to discuss. So there's collaboration taking place, there's conversation taking place, and learning happens in conversation. Why do you think so many people are attached to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram? It's because of the conversation. It's that somebody can like, somebody can share your post, somebody can add a comment to what you have done. It is the conversation that brings the learning. And so when you are teaching online, you should give your students opportunity to hold conversations amongst one another. Now, going ahead is the word correction. And when you talk about correction, it's not in the way with which we know it normally. When you are dealing with the activated classroom teaching online, you must give your students opportunity to make mistakes. I think one of the biggest problems in our education sector that has made cheating to be so much in our classrooms is because your students always want to be right. Whether they actually know it or not, whether they have learned the content or not, they want to get it right. So they don't mind checking their friend. They don't mind going online to cheat because they want to get it right. It's all about getting it right and less about knowing it. Now, when we start changing our mindset and our philosophy from scoring it right to learning it, we start discovering that our students will start paying more attention to learning. When we talk about the challenges in online, maybe one of the things that some of you may talk about is cheating online, ease of cheating online. But I usually say the reason why they will cheat is when they don't know it. That's number one. Number two is also the fact that if you ask them questions that they can easily find directly online. So when you start thinking about online teaching, you begin to think about how do you teach. So we talk about applied instruction and not just regurgitation of facts, or what we call rote learning. So correction, that layer of correction gives your students the opportunity to be wrong and then to get feedback so that they can learn it better. Let me run quickly to the next level, which is creation. I know that several schools during this period have begun to train their teachers to create content. We have challenged our teachers and maybe done trainings for teachers to show you how to create a video or to create an animation or to create something. I've seen lots of trainings going on around on creation. Now, not only should the teacher know how to create content, we must also engage our students in creating content as well. So at this level of creation, we have different things that the students can be made to create. So we can give them autonomy. I give you an assignment, for example, and instead of saying, write 2 paragraphs, 500 words, or a summary of so, I can ask them, for example, to show me or to explain to me in whichever form they want an understanding of the concept. So let me just give a practical example. So let me say I'm teaching living things, for example. They have their textbook, but I'm teaching living things online. I can give them an assignment. The conventional assignment would have been, number 1, define living things. Number 2, give 2 examples of living things. Number 3, give 3 characteristics of living things. But as a 21st century teacher, when you are teaching online, you must go beyond such types of assessment and give them an opportunity to create content. Creating content not only makes them know the content, but they can distill the knowledge they know in very interesting ways. So a typical assessment I will give would be to display to me your knowledge of living things. And now I can have a very brilliant student in that class going to their dog and taking a 2-minute video of how the dog is panting, of how the dog is running about, and create a documentary out of it using Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, let me ask you, when such a student submits that kind of assignment, does he understand what living things are? Yes, he does. Can he describe the characteristics of living things? Yes, he does. Sure, he knows examples of living things. That's why he could identify that a dog is an example of living things. But much more than that, he would have been tasked with the responsibility of creating a video or a documentary. And you will be surprised that several of our students have those skills. Even if they do not have it before, they will learn it and learn it in very little minutes in distilling that information for. So online teaching opens up that opportunity for you where you can require from your students to create content. Finally is the word chaos. And usually when I run through this training, teachers are afraid of the word chaos. No, don't let my class be chaotic. I want classroom management. I want my class to be controlled, class control. When my supervisor comes, I want everywhere to be quiet. I don't want my HM to come to class and my students are noisy. All right? Yes, I agree with you. Your class should not be noisy. Your class should not be disorganized. But yet, your class cannot be dead silent. If your class is dead silent, then learning is not taking place. Because don't forget, I already said, learning takes place in conversation. Learning takes place as they create, bringing in activity. they must be engaged, they must be active for them to be learning. And presently, I am doing my own further research on this model and how students can be engaged in the classroom with it. And one of the things I'm already discovering is that when students become active, it looks like there is a chaos. So when you come to my class, a typical example of my class is what you would naturally call chaotic. But in that chaos, learning is taking place. The students are interacting with one another. I've broken them into groups. They are discussing, they are having panel meetings, and they are giving my class presentations, even at primary school level. Now, when you transport that online, there are technology tools that encourage, in a way, this chaos that I'm talking about. Now, I've explained chaos here, not to mean disorganizing the class, but to mean any kind of activity that engages or that encourages learning. So even if my students are talking, but they must be learning. So I'm arranging the class. I can rearrange my class in such a way that it will encourage their rearrange my class in such a way that it will encourage their learning, it will encourage proper learning. That will be chaos. So this chaos online you can now make use of tools, different tools like mind mapping apps, like infographic apps, like video apps, different apps that are available online. So this will be all just in a few minutes about pedagogy. I will go ahead and talk about number 3, platform. Don't forget, we are still looking at the components of teaching online, and we are going to be talking about platform. Now, what platforms can we make use of when we are teaching online? I will distribute those platforms into two basic or two different groups of platforms. Number 1 is the social media platforms. And even though this was originally seen as a social media apps, but they can be used for online teaching. And I've trained a few schools to make use of these tools in teaching online. So whether it's Facebook or it's Twitter or it's Telegram or it's WhatsApp, you can make use of any of these social media platforms for teaching. Now, I think I read in the news a few weeks ago about a teacher in Lagos State who independently and individually, without the school, started teaching her subject online on Facebook. And she was recognized by the state governor, and many things happened. And I was quite impressed that even an individual teacher, without necessarily waiting for the school management, could take up online teaching with Facebook. The truth is, most of your students are already on these social media platforms, at least one of them, and teaching can go on. I know of another teacher who is teaching even in a government school this time, and who decided to make use of Telegram for his class. So he's teaching biology and he's teaching students on Telegram. And because of the capacities of Telegram as against WhatsApp, you can have many other control settings. You can make some admin at different levels, and then you can have many more students in your class. So Telegram is also a very good one. Twitter can also be used for online teaching. Now, the advantage of Twitter over any of these other ones is that you can now have input from students or teachers from all over the world. So you are discussing a subject or a topic using a hashtag. Now, anybody on the web can stumble on that hashtag and make contribution to your teaching, which now becomes richer for your students. So you can have your students learning from or learning together with other students from other countries of the world and other schools everywhere around, just with the use of hashtag, for those of us who are familiar with Twitter. So you can teach online using social media platforms. But like I already said, social media platforms do not have many more comprehensive tools. For example, quiz or assignment. In most of these, even though in Telegram you can have a quiz, in Facebook you may be able to have a poll, a quiz, but you cannot turn in assignment. You cannot do complex assessment. You cannot do a few other things. Yes, in Facebook you can do a live video. Even if you create a private Facebook group, you can do a live lecture on Facebook for your students, which is very wonderful. I know that WhatsApp has also introduced rooms, what they call the messenger rooms, which links with your Facebook Messenger, and you can also create a group there for your teaching. Now, all of this is possible, but for example, you cannot have gradebook system embedded in it. You cannot track individual record of students. Now, a more preferable side will be what I refer to as the learning management systems. Now, the learning management systems, like I explained before, is a system, digital tool that helps your teaching and learning online. And the first that we explain is Edmodo. I know some of us have heard of Edmodo. You can get it at edmodo.com. It's an online tool that can help you. Of course, some of us have heard of Google Classroom at classroom.google.com. It's also a learning management system. Number 3 is course networking, and you can find that as dcn.com. And then number 4 is Moodle. Now, there are several learning management systems that are available online, several of them, but these 4 are the most popular. Many are available, and many can be adopted to suit your own environment depending on what you want to achieve. But these 4, or the top 3, are the ones that you can use readily use at any time. All right, let me go ahead quickly to assessment, because I am looking at my time and I want to give opportunity for us to ask questions. So how do you perform assessment online? I will be looking at 3 tools that you can use to perform assessment online. The first one is Kahoot. Many of us are familiar with Kahoot, and some of us may be using it in our different schools. So Kahoot is an online assessment tool, and we'll be using Kahoot before the end of this webinar. At the end of this webinar, we'll be doing an activity making use of Kahoot. But Kahoot can be used, and they keep increasing the capacities. Each time I go into Kahoot, I see many new features that are available for online teaching, which you can use for Kahoot. Even when you resume in a face-to-face environment, you can still make use of Kahoot for your online assessment. Now with Kahoot, your students can go in, their names are recorded, they can submit their answers online, and you can download a report or the grade book from the assessment that they are giving. I will take you through a bit of that when we get to the end. Then you can make use of Google Forms or Microsoft Forms. Maybe a platform I should have spoken about, which I didn't talk about in the learning management system, is Microsoft Teams, which is new and is coming up now, very good. I've had opportunity to interact with it briefly, so it's quite a good tool, Microsoft Teams. If you just go to teams.microsoft.com. Now, inside Microsoft Suite, you will also find forms there as well. So Google Forms is what I use. I prefer Google Forms because I'm a Google guy, and I'm involved with several of Google tools that I can use for teaching. Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Classroom, Google Calendar, Google Drive, they all work together, including Google Forms. So Google Forms can be used for assessments online. And it's one of the tools, many great capacities and capabilities, even with the use of add-ons, which you can attach to Google Forms, can help you to increase it will help you to increase your training as much as possible. Now, yes, somebody is asking about Microsoft Teams. Yes, there are I called it Microsoft Teams. It's a learning management system that is just new. It's available. If you go to teams.microsoft.com, you'll be able to find access to Microsoft Teams. Now, finally, let me go ahead here quickly. I will take all the questions at the end. Is PlayPosit. Now, remember when I was dealing with the pedagogy, I spoke about not just consuming content. Many of what we have today is that you just bring a YouTube video to the classroom, and your students, and if it is worse, your students are watching a video, maybe online or face-to-face, for 30 minutes. Now, 30 minutes is obviously long. When you are using a video during a class, the video should not be longer than a maximum of 5 minutes. If at the very worst, very, very worst, 10 minutes is not recommended. But now, Play Positive changes the game for you. What Play Positive does is that it gives you the opportunity of inputting assessment within the video. So when you are giving your students video to watch, so let me give an example. I want to teach photosynthesis next week, or I want to let me just take photosynthesis, or I want to teach economics, a topic in economics next week. So what I can do is that today is Friday or today is Thursday, I can send a video home to my student and say, watch that video before you come to class on Monday. When you come to class on Monday, we will discuss the class. Okay? Those of us who are familiar with flipped learning, that is what is called flipped learning. Flipped learning simply means flipping what you should do normally in the class, you do it at home, and move what you should do at home, you move it to class. So ideally, in a normal traditional way, you present content in class and you do assessment and discussion at home. So in flipped learning, you give them the content at home, usually through video, and then they come to class to discuss the content with you. That's flipped learning. Now, but the challenge with that kind of thing is that you give them a video of 5 minutes to a class of 30 students, and only 5 students actually watch the video. And out of the 5, only 2 actually watched it to the end. The remaining 3 of them watched it halfway, and while he was watching the video, mommy calls him and he had to drop the phone and goes to attend to mommy, and that was the end of the video. So you don't have a way of knowing how many students actually watched the video before they came to class on maybe on Monday, for example. Or if it's an online environment, before they come to class the next time, you don't know how many students actually watched it. Now, Play Posit changes that for you. It gives you opportunity to insert questions, assessments within the video. And what that does is that the student, while he's watching the video, entire video may be 5 minutes, but he can watch it to 40 seconds and encounters a question. So the video pauses, he is faced with a question which he must interact with. Answer the question, maybe in an objective form. There are different ways by which you can ask the question. Sometimes in a multiple choice, sometimes open-ended questions, sometimes drag and drop. Sometimes it's even just a pause and reflect prompt. Excuse me. So you have the opportunity to input interactions and questions within Play Posit such that the students are watching. Now, not only are they consuming content, they are now interacting with the content. And we place this under correction because the students now have opportunity to interact with the video lesson that they are watching. So at the end of the day, you as the teacher on the other side, you are able to see how many students watched it. Because once any student begins to watch it, ask them to put their name and it records it on your side. So you know that, oh, John has started watching this video. He watched it to 2 minutes, 5 seconds and stopped. All of that is being tracked as the students are watching. So you can know how many watched it to the end. You can know how many of them never even attempted to watch it. It gives you all of that option. And of course, for every question, you can set how many marks this will be. If you get this right, get this mark. And at the end of the day, it instantly gives them their mark. Oh, you have watched this video and your mark is 5 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 based on what metrics or what rubric you have put in between the video. So Play Posit is a very fantastic tool. It changes the game from just consumption and makes it at least correction where your students can interact with the video. Let me go ahead to number 5. Now, number 5, I will be dealing with the principles of teaching online. So what are the principles of teaching online? And at this point, there are several principles which I could talk about. Some of them I've been talking about them. And let me just highlight a few of them again at this point before we go ahead. I know that maybe when the questions begin to come, I may still be forced to talk a little more about these principles. But number 1 is content. Now, when you are teaching online, please make use of different content types. I have said this before. It is not, you are reducing the power of teaching online if you are teaching online with just text. If all that we see is you go and copy 2 paragraphs from one website and dump it on in your WhatsApp group, for example, or in your learning management system, and you say the students should read it, no, you have not done anything. Actually, you could simply have copied the link, and in one line, they can click that link and go and read up much more than you want them to read up. So when you are teaching online, make use of the power of content. Make use of the power of video, make use of the power of games, and some of those things are not difficult. If you just Google online and go to appropriate educational games to teach photosynthesis, you will see examples, you will see flashcards, you will see different kinds of games available online. Some of these things are available even for free for you, which you can always use when you are working. Now, so number 2, I wrote there pedagogy. Now, when you are teaching online, you need to think about the pedagogy you are going to follow while teaching online. You cannot just teach anyhow and expect to get the best of results. And when we start dealing with the challenges, one of the challenges that people normally talk about is the fact that it introduces distraction. Our students are distracted when they are teaching, when they are learning online, and it makes students fail. Students can fail a little more. The reason is because your teaching online is not being guided by a specific pedagogy. So when you are teaching online, you need a pedagogy. You need to follow a specific pedagogy. And like I said, I already recommended the activated classroom teaching pedagogy, which helps you to teach online. When you understand that pedagogy well, you can change your teaching online and it helps your students to learn better. Number 3 is to be able to discover and determine the kind of teaching platform which you want to use. So depending on your environment, depending on the place that you are, I know that in this COVID-19 period, I've worked with schools where they decided to just stick to WhatsApp for their teaching. I say, okay, I teach you, I train you how to create videos, you make use of WhatsApp. You collect the parents' number, put them in WhatsApp groups, and make use of WhatsApp. All right. While this is possible, it has limitations. But at least it's better than not doing anything at all. So as a school owner listening to me, or as a teacher listening to me, and you want to transit to online teaching, you need to determine what teaching platform you want to use. Where are my students? Are my students on Facebook? Can I create a closed Facebook group and invite them to it and make use of the power of Facebook? Or do I have capacity to move them to Google Classroom or to Edmodo or to Microsoft Teams or to any of those other platforms that are available? So you need to determine what you want to use. Now, let me go ahead and talk about planning. Now, you need to plan your online school. Let me quickly say to you that teaching online is different from teaching face-to-face. In an online class, when your students are in the class, you can keep everybody, how do I say this? You can pull everybody's attention to you in 5 seconds. Everybody, can you sit down and look at me, look at the board? And in 5 seconds, your class is seated and looking at you. You cannot do that online. Online, sometimes it can take up to 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes for your students to settle in. And when they settle in, they are chatting with their friends first. They are greeting their friends. Now, greeting face-to-face takes less time than greeting online. So you need to plan your online schooling. In a face-to-face environment, you probably used to have 40 minutes per period. Online, you cannot have 40 minutes. You need to increase the time. You need to determine your schedule. So you cannot just transport your offline timetable into your online school. No, you need to plan it. You need to determine how many subjects they are going to do online. You need to determine which students are going to come in. Are we going to bring in all the students from the very, very lower class, or just a few students with teachers? And let me speak about having office hours. You need to plan this as part of your online school. Are they going to have office hours? Teachers now, I mean. Because in a face-to-face environment, your students can walk into the class staff room and discuss with the teacher. But online, there is no staff room. So, but we can create what we call office hours. So a teacher can say, my class is between 8 and 10. Between 10 and 11, I will be available in my online office for any quick questions. So you can reach me on this channel, maybe reach me on WhatsApp, or reach me on Telegram, or reach me on Facebook, direct message, or reach me here. For the next 1 hour, anything you ask me, I'll be ready to respond to you within that time. Now, anything after that time, you can expect a response maybe in 24 hours or in 48 hours, but during my office hours, you will have my attention. So that is planning. And you need to communicate, which will take me to the next part now. You need to communicate effectively with all stakeholders on what is happening. You don't just start an online school and start teaching. No, you need your parents to buy in. You need them to adopt it. You need to explain to them. You need to carry them along. Don't forget that they will also have commitment on their side. They need to support their children, particularly if you are dealing with primary school. They need to support them. They need to provide data for their children. They need to make preparations for them. So you need to properly communicate to your parents. You need to properly communicate to your teachers as well. And in some cases, you may also need to provide data for your teachers to work, particularly if they are going to be teaching maybe with video or with large internet facilities. So you need to provide proper communication and support. So let me just talk briefly about support. It's the fact that you will need to provide support for your parents, your teachers, and your students. I want to believe that in every school, you will have an IT person, even if it's just the computer teacher, somebody who is technical, somebody who knows how to maneuver the system and the internet properly. Such a person can be given, can be saddled with the responsibility of providing support to all stakeholders. So a parent is trying to log into the online school and he's not able to come in. They must know who they can talk to and who can be of help to them. A student is trying to submit an assignment and for one reason or the other, she cannot see the assignment. Every other student is seeing the assignment, but he cannot see it. There must be somebody that he can talk to and can provide that support. A teacher is trying to upload his video into the online school and he is not able to for one reason or the other. Somebody must be available to provide that support for him or her. So there must be proper communication and available support for all the stakeholders in your online school. And then I'm also speaking finally about training. Now, one of the biggest problems with education technology or teaching online is that we do not have trained teachers. Our teachers are good in their subjects. They are great subject matter experts, but they are not trained to teach effectively with technology. Now, you see, if I were to draw a wheel for you, on one side is their content. So they know the subject. As a mathematics teacher, you know your math properly. As a Yoruba teacher or as a French teacher, you know your subject very well. Now, you know how to use social media. You know how to use your phone. You can browse. But then, who trains you or teaches you how to teach online? How to teach effectively using those technologies? Now, you need to be trained to do that. And this training is part of your preparation towards teaching online. So you don't just go ahead and say, okay, we are going online, and your teachers begin to struggle. I want to do this, I cannot do it. How do I talk to all my students? I don't know what to do. How do I? So you need to provide training for your students. Now, there's a second activity which we will do together. So are you all still with me? Let's do this together again. Can we again go to that site, pollev.com/DA438. You have been consuming for so long, I need to make you active. All right, and talk to me in one word this time. What challenges do you face when teaching online? Challenges. So challenges. Data, yes, I'm seeing the responses are coming in. Network. Okay, now please just put one word, just one word, one word, one word, please. Network, skill, data. Yes. Technical support, skills, data. Data is the biggest. Yes, more responses, more responses, more responses. Please don't respond on the chat. Please go to the site and respond. It will help to build the word cloud. You know, we are building a word cloud. We are going to see the biggest challenges that we face online. Yes, please go to the tool online, pollev.com/DA438, and put in your word there. One word, please. All right, I've been told to give you more time to respond, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Yes, data, support, gadgets, network, focus, technical support, skill, electricity. I can see electricity there. Availability, gadgets. All right. Yes, network, data, parents, technical, problem, distraction. Yes, I can see a word there, distraction. All right. One word answers, please. One word. Please don't type long sentences. Just one word. Just one word. Yes, I'm seeing them. So as we can see, data and network is the highest. Method of teaching. Yes. Electricity. Any more? Any more? Yes. Yes. It's getting interesting. But as we can see, we are having more of network and data marking. All right. Maybe somebody is thinking you cannot mark properly online. All right. I already said that there will be assessment tools online. Yes. Many more. I think I can go ahead. Can I go ahead with this now? I'm seeing cooperation, parents, distraction, network. All right. Now, so these are the various challenges that you will face either as a teacher or even our students when you are teaching online. So let me now go ahead and pick a few of these which I have already itemized, which we will talk about. Even though I may not discuss your own particular challenge, since I have seen it now, I can just go into it as I go ahead from here. Okay, even those of us who are watching from Facebook, I'm sure that you are also able to participate in our poll at this time. So let me just give maybe a few more seconds. I'm looking at my time because I want to give you opportunity to ask questions at the end, and I'm still going to give a major assessment. So that's why I am moving at a fast speed. But as you can see, you have network and data as the biggest. So number one, I think I'm going ahead now, is internet. Definitely, that is the biggest challenge that online learning, teaching and learning will have, is internet. But the good news is that many telecommunication companies are responding to periods like this. Internet is becoming cheap and cheaper. Just a few days ago, I still subscribed to MTN data 1,000 for 4 gig, and we are having such data, whether it's in Glow or it's in Airtel or different any of those different telecommunications. They are making internet available and easy. If you are in a town where there are internet service providers as well, internet is becoming cheaper and affordable. Yes, I recognize that it's still a challenge, but they are becoming cheaper. We can always work around it. Maybe I should say first that even though there are challenges with online learning, but you will discover that the benefits by far outweigh these challenges. And what we need to do is to work around the challenges. So the first of them is internet. Like I said, as a school owner, you could decide to make provision for your teachers. You can determine and say, okay, I'm going to give my teachers maybe 1 gig or 2 gig. Or, for example, I know that in some states presently we have complete lockdown, but in some other states there is no complete lockdown, which means teachers, people can still move around maybe between a particular time to another time, and just making use of the different safety tools. Use your face mask, observe social distancing, observe washing your hand and using sanitizers and things like that. So if you have an opportunity to still go around, maybe in the town where you are, school owners can still make provisions for their teachers to come to school. What you could do is to divide them into groups. One group come on Monday, another group come on Tuesday, another group come on Wednesday, or another group come between 8 to 11, another group resumes at 11 to 1 or to 2. That kind of an arrangement whereby they can make use of the internet in school and use that to work. Another challenge is time. I remember during this lockdown, a teacher complaining to me that I'm even working harder than when I was going to class, because after I finish teaching online, I spend the rest of the day creating videos for tomorrow. And I said, yes, it's time consuming, yes, but then it's worth it. It's more interesting. Yes, you may spend more time, but the beauty is that as you get to do it, the more you do it, the less time you spend. At the beginning, it may take you so long a time creating content, but over time, you will suddenly discover that the time it takes for you to develop your content will keep coming down as you get proficient with it. So yes, time can be a challenge, but definitely you can work around it. Number 3, which I spoke about, is adoption. And I know that some environments may find this. This is one reason why many school owners are afraid to take the leap to online school. They say, my parents will never accept. And some people will say, my place is in a rural area. Our children they cannot even have WhatsApp. They don't have a good phone. I know that the issue of adoption can be a challenge, but I still again want to encourage you. First of all, reach out to them and give them reasons to participate in it. One of the things is the fact that those students are at home doing nothing, and by this time, some parents are already getting tired. They're already wondering, for how long is my child going to be at home, just sitting down and doing nothing? Very soon we'll cross into June. The third term is finishing already, and many things are on hold, particularly for our students. So I know that if you start engaging your parents, if you start having conversations and discussions with them, you will see that the adoption will continue. I think the biggest issue with adoption is communication. Clear communication. Let the parents know what to expect. Let them have a guide that they can follow. Let them have somebody that can provide support at any time when they do not know how to go ahead. So adoption can also be a challenge. Another challenge that you can have is support, which I've spoken about also, is that you should bring support to your student. Provide support for your parents, provide support for your students, provide support for your teachers. Sometimes even the teachers themselves, they need support. They need to be trained. They need to be helped. Sometimes they get stuck and they do not know how to handle it. They need the support. So you should be able to provide support for your stakeholders at every level. Now, the matter of cost. I know that even though I didn't see so much response as cost there, but the truth of the matter is that it may involve some cost. For example, I spoke about the cost of data and cost of internet. Even though it's affordable, it's not free. Now, some of the online tools that are available, many of them are free. Many of them are free, or at least what we call the freemium, which means that they have basic features for free and then advanced features for which you need to pay for. So for example, you want to make use of live video lecture and you want to use Zoom, for example. Now, you can use Zoom for free, but the free part of Zoom is only, and the free part of Zoom has a 40-minute time limit. So if you are holding your lectures on Zoom, it means that after 40 minutes, your class must end. Now, that's a limitation. So it's available for free, but only for 40 minutes. And even at that level, only 100 students can come in. But if you want more time and you want support for more students, then you need to pay for that capacity or that functionality. So some of the learning management systems have such caveats where they provide a bit for you for free, which is usable, and then if you want much more, then you can arrange with them, pay for it, and get more. Now, but the bigger cost which you may need to invest in, and for me, is just an investment which you may need to invest, is the cost of training your staff. You cannot, I do not encourage you to venture into online teaching without proper training for your staff. At least, if you want them to start creating videos, someone must train them to create videos. How do you create videos? Either with your system or with your mobile phone. If you want them to make use of a learning management system, someone should train them to move around in the learning management system. So you are going to need, that cost is there. So, and depending on who you turn to and where you are, the cost will vary per time. But definitely there will be some cost. And for me, it's an investment. If you invest in it, you will get the yields and the benefits which we already spoke about. Finally, is this online etiquette. You know that before now, in a face-to-face environment, our students have a face. So when you see somebody in the class, you know his name, you know his age. As a class teacher, you know his name, you know his age. You may even know where he lives, you know his parents, you know everything about the child. But online now, if I look at the participant list now as my online students in this class, I don't know you. I don't know the name I can see there. I don't know if it's your real name or it's a nickname. I do not know the location you are from. I do not know many things about you. But so online learning can present a faceless kind of environment where our students think they are faceless, so they can see anything. So beating that challenge is training our students on how to talk online. You must teach your children to know that whatever you share online cannot be deleted. Even when you delete it, it's already there. Whatever you type online can be screenshot or screenshotted, or I wouldn't know how to say that. You can screenshot whatever you put online. So even if you take it down, it's still there. Okay? So you need to teach your students. You don't use foul languages online. You need to teach them about cyber safety. How do you stay safe online? When you start teaching and learning online, you need to, alongside your teaching of your courses, you need to also engage your students in proper communication online. You need to tell them that even though we cannot see your face online, you have an identity. And whatever it is that you say online using your account can be discovered. Even though you may delete it and you may say I've deleted it, but in the true sense of it, it is not deleted. It's there permanently on the internet. So you must teach them how to talk online, teach them about digital footprints, and model it to them. What do I mean by model it? Let the teachers show them how to behave online. Let them speak well online. No use of vernacular online. Use your punctuations properly. Speak well. Respect every other user, every other mate online. All of those rules must be set, and the teachers must model it as they go ahead teaching online. You must teach them to think before they post. All of those things are available, which you must always provide. Those are the challenges that you may face in an online environment, which you can think about. Now, so I'm coming gradually to the end of my class, and I'm going to be asking you to do an activity on Kahoot. So if you can hear me, and I know you all can hear me, please pick your Kahoot app. I will give you a few minutes to look at the screen. Then you need to get your Kahoot app and put in the pin for us to do this activity together. So I will stop sharing this screen. I will return here later, but I need to show you the Kahoot. All right. Okay, so let me share my screen with you. Okay, so as you all can see, I'm going to ask you to open your Kahoot app. I'm dropping the volume intentionally so that you can hear me. So open your Kahoot app and type in this game pin 2339053. Good. Tochukwu is in. You will see yourself coming in. I will just wait a little more. The pin is 2339053. Two three three 9053. That's the game pin. Now, I do not know how many players Kahoot can take live, but let's keep going and let's see as many as you can come in. I already have 21 players. If you are watching on Facebook as well, you can join us. Open your Kahoot app. If you are viewing from a system, you can just go to www.kahoot.it. If you are viewing from a system, you can go to kahoot.it, not kahoot.com, but kahoot.it. If you are on the app, just type in the game pin 2339053. Let me wait a bit since we are many. Oh, somebody is just downloading. All right. I will still wait a bit because of those joining in on Facebook or from every other place. Yes. Khadija, welcome. Ozone, Vicky, Ima, Deco, Kadzi, Visa. So for those of you who are not familiar with Kahoot, Kahoot is an online assessment tool that you can use online, and you can use it to do assessments. You can even give them homework using Kahoot, which you will just give them the code and they can work from home. Okay, how do I join? If you're on your device or if you're on the laptop, you go to kahoot.it. But if you're on your mobile phone, at the center of your phone, you will see where you can say add pin, enter pin. That's where you enter that pin, 2339053. When you enter the pin, you will see your name on the screen. So please join using the pin 2339053. I'll wait a few more minutes and nobody will be able to come in again. The rest of us will just be observers. So let me wait a few more minutes. Maybe if I can get up to 50 players, then I will be good to go. I have 44 players now who are in. Yes, come in, be part of it. 45, 46. Yes, who else is coming in? 47. Oh, 46. Somebody else is going out. All right. 48. No, don't try to create an account. If you are creating an account, that's where it's asking you whether you're a student or a teacher. Don't create an account for now. Just come in as a student. Once you open the app, at the center of the app, you will see put game pin. When you put game pin, you are in. Once you put the game pin, you are in. Once you put the game pin, you are in. I don't want to wait again because my time is running, so that you can have opportunity to ask questions. I think I will just go ahead. In 10 seconds, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, put a nickname. Put a nickname. I'm waiting for you, Ibekwe. Put a nickname. You are already in, so just put a nickname so that you can get in. Are you in? All right, I'm going to start now. Unfortunately, I won't be able to take any more after now. After now, you won't be able to join again, but I think you'll just watch along with us. So let's go. Now, the first question says, which of the following is not an advantage of online teaching? So on your device, you are going to see the answer. Pick either it is triangle red, diamond blue, circle yellow, green, square, and your time is counting down. That ended so fast. All right, now I know that some of us who are participating for the first time, you may not know how to use this, but as we go ahead, we would learn it. So let me just explain again how it works. Now, the question says, which of the following is not an advantage of online teaching? A, no physical barriers. B, total focus on content, wider online content, development of 21st century skills. So how does Kahoot work? You are going to see the question on your screen, and then you are going to see the answers on your phone. if you look at your phone, you will see the 4 answers. I hope you can all hear me. You will see the 4 answers on your phone. You will see the shape and the color, shape and color, shape and color. So you will look up to the screen, see the question, and check your device and select the answer from your device. Now, that is how Kahoot works. Okay, yes, you can hear me. So you would simply look at the screen, look at the question on the screen, look at your device, and pick the correct answer, what you think is the correct answer on your device within the limited time that you have. For every question that I have put here, you have a time limit of 20 seconds to work out those questions. So you must be able to look at the question, determine what the answer will be, and pick the answer from your device. So let's go ahead to explain this first question, which is what I would refer to as feedback when you are using an online tool. So which of the following is not an advantage of online teaching? No physical barriers. Yes, no physical barriers is an example, is an advantage. Now, wider online content is an advantage of online teaching. Development of 21st century skills is an advantage of online teaching. But total focus on content is not an advantage, because in an online environment, you can have your students sometimes being distracted, going from one place to another. So this is not an advantage of online teaching, which is the correct answer. Okay, can I go ahead now? Let me go ahead to the next question. Everybody get ready. The next question is coming up now. Okay, so I have my leaderboard. Ige is on top, and that's my leaderboard. All right, can we go? True or false? COVID-19 has caused all education problems in education. True or false? COVID-19 has caused all education problems in education. True or false? Okay, what is the answer? False. Now, if you followed my webinar properly, you will discover that I made a quote where I said that COVID-19 has not caused the problems. COVID-19 didn't really cause the problems. COVID-19 only revealed the problems. This period, this pandemic has only shown us that there's been a problem in the education sector, and not necessarily the one that caused the problem. So the answer will be false. Question number 3, let me see who is on the leaderboard now. Map, congratulations, you're on top, followed by Happiness, followed by Philip top, then Star One and Kemi. Congratulations to the 5 of you. You are on top of my leaderboard. Now, Felista Ngozi has gone up 56 places, is the highest climber. Well done, congratulations. Can I go on to question number 3? Which of the following is a current challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic to education? Current challenge. Social distancing, schools have been shut, learning has generally stopped, students must wear face masks. Which is the current challenge? All right. Yes, so I deliberately put this kind of question because you can have 2 correct answers. Now, definitely, COVID-19 in education has forced this generally. Now, even though yes, students must wear face masks, but our students are not yet back in school, and so it's not really affecting education particularly. And even though we talk about social distancing, again, yes, that's true, but it's not directly affecting education. What directly affects education is that schools have been shut and learning has stopped generally. Let me go on quickly. Okay, happiness is now on top. Congratulations, happiness. Star 1, map. Congratulations, you're on top. I'm going ahead to my next question. In an online environment, content can be presented in the following ways, except image, audio, video, worksheets. All vote now. Content can be presented in the following ways, except. All right. So what is the answer? Worksheets. Of course, if you also went through the presentation, you will know that you can present content with image, with audio, with video. I spoke about games, I spoke about links, I spoke about text, but not worksheets. Worksheets is the correct answer. In an online environment, don't present content with worksheets. Let's look for a more creative way by which we can present our content to our students. So let's look at the leaderboard again. Congratulations, happiness, you are still on top. And map and star 1 are still topping our leaderboard at this time. We are going on to the next question now. The following are examples of learning management system platforms, except WhatsApp, Google Classroom, Course Networking, Moodle. Of course, WhatsApp. All right. You know, sometimes when you are teaching in a class and you say to your student, do you understand? The general answer is yes, yes. In class, everybody seems to understand. But when it's time to take the assessment, and in an online environment like this, when you have assessment, that's when you actually know those who were following and those who actually learned. So it probably means that you didn't understand when I was speaking about these learning management systems, the platforms. Now, so I spoke about different platforms. I talked about Google Classroom. I spoke about Course Networking. I spoke about Edmodo and Moodle. I spoke about Microsoft Teams. And I said that these are LMS platforms. Yes, even though I spoke about WhatsApp, but I said WhatsApp is a social media platform. It can be used to teach online, but it is not an LMS. In WhatsApp, you cannot have quiz. You cannot give your student assessment. On WhatsApp, you cannot grade the student. On WhatsApp, you cannot download their results. You cannot take attendance. There are many options that are available in a typical learning management system which will not be available for you on WhatsApp. So when you are talking about examples of learning management systems, all of those other three are examples except WhatsApp. Okay, so I'll go ahead. Who is stopping my leaderboard now? Oh, happiness has come down. Congratulations, MAP. Congratulations, Toby. Congratulations, OB. You are at the top 3. Yes. So let me go ahead to my next question. Question 6. 2 more to go. Which of the following is a video assessment digital tool? Kahoot, Workbook, PlayPosit, Edmodo. I explained what video assessment tool can be. Which of these can be used to assess a video? Which of these can be used to assess a video? All right. Yes. PlayPosit is the correct answer. Now, when I was explaining, I spoke about the fact that PlayPosit is an assessment tool that can be used to assess video. So let me explain again. In PlayPosit, you can have opportunity to not only put a video, but put questions in between the videos. So as your students are watching the videos, they are able to answer the questions and go along as the video is going. Kahoot is what we are using. It is an assessment tool, but it is not a video assessment tool. Workbook is not a digital tool at all. Edmodo is a learning management system, but it's not a video assessment tool. So the only video assessment tool that you have there is PlayPosit. Congratulations to the 9 of you who got that question correctly. Now, MAP is still on top. Congratulations, MAP. Congratulations, OB, coming right next to MAP at the top. Final question now. Everybody grab your phones and get ready for the final question. How can you ensure parents and students buy in for online teaching? Proper communication, constant support, proper planning, appropriate pedagogy. How can you ensure parents and students buy in for online teaching? Parents and students buy in. All right. Yes. In this question, 3 of the answers are correct. I just wanted to know those of us who can remember. Now, when you want your parents and your students to buy in, definitely I spoke about communication. So your school, as a teacher, as a school owner, you must properly communicate to your parents and to your teachers. Next is that you must give them support, constant support. Definitely also there must be proper planning. Now, appropriate pedagogy is useful in online teaching, but doesn't necessarily ensure parents buy-in. Now, that was tricky. I knew that it would be a little tricky for some of us. Now, even though appropriate pedagogy is useful, before you go to teach online, you must think about pedagogy. But using an appropriate pedagogy does not necessarily impact directly on the buy-in of the parents. The truth of the matter is that most parents, your parents and your students do not know that you are following a pedagogy. Whether you follow a pedagogy or not, they do not know. And even if you tell them that in our school, you come online because you are following proper pedagogy, they don't even know what it means. So that does not necessarily ensure their buy-in or their adoption. The things that will ensure their adoption is proper communication. Make sure you communicate properly with them. Make sure you provide support so that your parents do not get frustrated when they are trying to come in. Make sure you plan it well. Let them know the number of subjects they will do online. Let them have an online timetable. Let them know how things will progress. When do you submit? When will this class start? Let there be a proper planning. That will be quite helpful. So all of these other 3 will ensure a buy-in or adoption from our parents and our students. And I think that was the last question. So can we find out the final podium? Congratulations, Abdulatif. OB, congratulations. And who is the winner? Mab, congratulations to you. So let me give you a clap from here. Congratulations to the 3 of you. That was good and that was fun. It means you followed my class properly, and it means that you have learned a lot from this. Thank you very much to everybody else, even if you didn't get to the top. Thank you very much, but I'm sure we have all learned 1 or 2 things from here. I will return now back to my slide, which will be time for me to take questions at this time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. It's been an educating and impressive time. If you have questions from the audience, please use the QA section. Use the QA button to ask your question. We will see it live. And if you are on Facebook, if you are joining us on Facebook Live, please ask your question on Facebook. We are going to post it here for you. Thank you. So let's proceed with the question and answer. So you already have some questions, so let's go ahead with them.
All right. So are you going to be moderating the questions or can I just go ahead?
Let me moderate the question from here.
All right. Thank you
So
very much.
that will be easy.
Thank you very much.
The first question I want to read here is from Galaxy M20. It says, how can you teach French effectively in an Anglophone environment? Like, how can you teach French effectively in an English-speaking environment? I don't know if you'll be able to answer that.
All right. Let me just say one or two things about that. You can teach any subject, basically. So if we talk about teaching French in an English-speaking environment, there are many ways by which you can teach it. So if you input and you are teaching online, so if you make use of any of those digital content which I spoke about. So for example, you want to talk about audio or talk about video. So you can go and get those maybe French rhymes or something like that and play it online and upload it online for your students. But even if you get to the face-to-face environment, you can just get a small Bluetooth speaker, which several of us already have. We listen to music and watch movies with those Bluetooth speakers. You can get one, take it to class, and then you can play your French rhymes. So they are not just hearing you speak the French, they are hearing actually somebody with a French accent speaking the French and teaching in the class. It will also increase their engagement. Of course, if you can get simulation apps or simulation digital tools, if you Google it, I'm sure you'll be able to find simulation digital tools that you can use online where you can speak in English and the other side responds to you in French, in which case the students can learn French like that. So there are many ways by which you can teach.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. Thank you. That was pointed. The next question I'm going to be reading here, I want to apologize to every of our participants. We might not be able to read all your questions, but we try as much as possible to read the few ones we can because of our time. Someone asked, how can you help students in rural areas, in rural environments, especially students in government school? I think that's what the person wants to ask. So how can you help them with these online and e-learning solutions?
Now, let me deal with rural first before I deal with government schools. Now, in rural environments, presently now I'm in a place that may look a little rural, not in one of those big cities where several of us are watching and turning in from. So I know that many of them may not have access to big learning management systems. But one thing that I know that most people have is WhatsApp. WhatsApp is so basic, it's so simple. Most people have WhatsApp. Even those whose parents have those phones, 20,000, 25,000 naira phones that they have WhatsApp on it. So you can teach using WhatsApp. All you need to do is to be able to gather their contacts, put them in groups. I recommend that you put them in smaller groups. One class, one group, another class, one group. Don't lump a class where you are having 70 students, 80 students. It will be too much. So in the rural environment, you can make use of WhatsApp. Now in government schools, the matter with government schools is that you are having a combination of rural and large groups. The students are so many. So a way by which you can help, and I encourage teachers not to wait for the government. At this point, it will be difficult for the government to bring solution for us. So as an individual teacher, can you try to see how many of your students you can get? Now, in those rural environments, your students are probably living around you. You probably know their houses. Can you make an attempt to find out, oh, do you have WhatsApp? Can we teach online? Now, it's better to try and not to get it than never to try at all. So if you want to give it a try, you may not have all your 50 students coming online. But even if you have 10, if you have 15, if you have 20, you would have started something small. And so that's a way by which I will encourage you to do for government schools and rural environments. I say start small. Take one small step, do something small, and then you can grow from there. Please don't wait for the government. And even if you're in a private school and your school owner does not know what to do in this kind of a time, as an individual teacher, you don't have to wait. Take the leap and start teaching. Even if it's 1 or 2 students you are teaching online, they will start calling themselves, they will start inviting themselves, and your class will start growing. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I will ask one question, but it will be A and B. So it's from different person, but I think we can answer it together very shortly. Please,
Yes,
can you explain what Moodle is? Moodle. I don't know what that person means. And
yes,
can you incorporate Kahoot with Google Classroom?
All right, so Moodle is a learning management system, and it works just like most of the learning management systems with many of the features I spoke about. You can assign students to their different classrooms. You can teach with it. You can grade assessments with it. You can ask people to give assessments. You can. I'm not particularly sure if Moodle has the live video or lecture format. I can't really say now, but most learning management systems have those kind of tools and features in them. How can you incorporate Kahoot in Google Classroom? Very simple. Now, what I did was to take you to my website and do Kahoot. Alternatively, which was what I planned to do before I decided to do it live, is to create the Kahoot online and download and generate the pin. So I can now go to my Google Classroom or Moodle or Edmodo or any of my learning management system and put the pin as an assessment. So instead of typing out 10 questions as assessment on my learning management system, I have put the questions in Kahoot, I have taken the pin, and then I go to put the pin in Google Classroom. So when the students go there, if your students are already familiar with Kahoot, and if they are not, it only takes once to explain to them. Your students will fall in love with Kahoot, like I know several of us already are falling in love with Kahoot. So just explain it to them the first time, and subsequently they'll be good to go.
Thank you,
All they need to do
Mr.
to put the pin,
Okay.
and then they'll be okay. All
Thank
right,
you,
thank
Mr.
sir.
Daniel. I'm just trying to move things forward.
Yes.
Which resources are best for creating mathematics content?
All right. Now for maths content, the first thing I need to say is that when you are teaching maths, it's going to take a different turn than most of the other subjects that we teach. So the first thing is that definitely you will need video for maths. Text will not be enough. Even audio will not be enough, particularly when you want to show them the steps. So you are going to need video. So you are thinking around video. So resources, if you go online, you will find different resources. So the first one, like I talked about, is video. Second one is games. There are several mathematics games available online. In fact, there was one app. Unfortunately, I'm struggling to remember the name now, that I downloaded and I used with a school on Android phone. It's for maths. So what it does is that it gives them like an adventure. If I can get it before the end of the webinar, I'll get it and post it in the chat. It presents the game like an adventure. So students are fighting enemies, but one enemy is a math question. So as they try to kill an enemy, it presents them with a mathematics question. If they are able to answer that maths question within a limited time, the enemy dies, and then they can proceed in their adventure. So it's a beautiful concept, and games are very good in teaching math. So I spoke about video, I spoke about games, and then you can give them access to go online to learn other things by themselves. Of course, there are websites, video sites like Khan Academy, like YouTube. What do they call it now? I think it's students or YouTube teachers. Yes, YouTube teachers, that you can find particular content for teachers and education content. There are many maths content available online. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. The next question, I think it's for us, for Spectrum Books Limited. We might have to answer it from here, actually. How can Spectrum Company help in aiding the introduction of e-learning in our schools through their books? Thank you for that question. Spectrum Books Limited is moving very fast and straight, and we are appointed at this time to develop. We are developing an e-book platform, and very soon it will be out. So at the end of this webinar, you'll be able to fill a form. Through that form, we'll be able to communicate with you on where and how to download our e-learning, our e-book platform, our e-book app, so you can get our books in soft. And then now Spectrum Books Limited will be launching an e-commerce website where you'll be able to purchase the books online, so you don't need to leave the comfort of your environment. Very soon we'll be able to do that. Thank you. So I think we're able to answer that question. I would like to take another question here. Someone is asking, I think you've answered it. How can we convince parents to know the importance of e-learning? Which platform is best for teaching of mathematics, especially calculation process? So, you know, maybe I'm a little bit biased to mathematics.
Yes, I know that.
Well, maybe you like to answer those questions. So first is, you've answered one already, so I don't think there's need for that. How can we convince parents to know the importance of e-learning? The other one is, which platform is best for teaching of mathematics, especially calculation process? Very short. I want you to answer that very shortly.
All right. Yeah. For mathematics, I already spoke about teaching mathematics, and I said that it's because you need to show the working. Maybe another thing that is coming to my mind now is to use an online whiteboard app. So I've done tutorials, weekly tutorials, private tutorials for students before using Skype, and that's before this COVID-19 period, using Skype and a whiteboard app. So what it does is that it presents both me and the student with this whiteboard app, and I can now teach. So it just shows to the student as if I'm in a classroom and I'm teaching with whiteboard, so I can teach. Even with this Zoom has a whiteboard option, which if you can still see my screen, it's possible for me to introduce the whiteboard. So with many of the apps, you have the opportunity to do the whiteboard and teach math. So as the teacher is working out the calculations, the students can follow, and the student himself can also solve the same question. They can all contribute to the whiteboard at the same time. So that's possible for teaching math. And like I said, you can also make use of video.